We are back with an update of the AFC North after Week 7 of the NFL season. The division standings remained the same. However, the outlook for the division, I think, has definitely changed quite a bit since last week. We'll start with the division-leading Baltimore Ravens. They win at home against the Browns 23-20 in that divisional matchup. I feel like Patrick Queen had a really great game on the defensive side of the ball. Justin Tucker making another fourth quarter 50-plus yard field goal look automatic, look easy. He's the greatest kicker of all time. I feel like I can confidently say that, and that's not even up for debate at this point. His numbers are insane, and you just watch him kick the football, and it's not even a question in clutch time on those 50-plus yard field goals. He missed a 56-yard field goal last week in the first quarter, and that's an oddity. That's an oddity for him. So he's continuing his fantastic career. It's not slowing down anytime soon. I feel like the Ravens offense did all right, but the offense not being able to really step on the Browns' throat when they were in the lead definitely kept the Browns around in the game. And again, they came pretty close to blowing another double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. This wasn't a win for the Ravens that would inspire me to believe that they could continue this momentum if I were a Ravens fan, which I'm not. I mean, talking about this game as a Browns fan is a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but while they won and they still hold the division lead as of right now, this was, again, they're winning ugly. They won ugly against the Bengals, but hey, they don't ask how, they only ask how many. And right now, the Ravens can look and say, hey, we have a 4-3 record. We're leading the division. We're 2-0 against divisional opponents. And, if that's all that and that's really all that matters, but it does seem like they're winning in ways that don't seem very repeatable, or at least it doesn't inspire confidence that even if they do manage to keep this up throughout the entire year and make the playoffs and win the division, that this would get them very far once the playoffs start and things start getting serious. Next they play the Bucs on the road on Thursday Night Football. A couple weeks ago that might look like a really good matchup, but the Buccaneers have looked awful as of late. Last week they lost to the Steelers, and this week they ended up being non-competitive against the tanking Carolina Panthers. So we'll see if the Ravens can continue their winning ways against teams that aren't really that good as of right now. Again, the Buccaneers show that they could be a good team, but they haven't shown up for the past couple of weeks. And in second place, the Cincinnati Bengals winning handedly at home, 35-17 against the Atlanta Falcons. Their offense seems to be out of their early season funk by now. Joe Burrow playing his best game of the season by far. He was electric against the Falcons. And this is the Bengals team. It definitely has the most upward momentum of any AFC North team, at least in my opinion. They've won 4 out of their last 5 after that awful 0-2 start that they had. They've really recovered quite nicely. They're getting those wins. Joe Burrow's definitely the only reliable quarterback in the AFC North right now. As for me, again, maybe not the only one, but the most reliable. Again, I think Lamar Jackson came plummeting down to earth after his start. Maybe he's making the Ravens look a little smarter for not giving him that contract that he wanted. But again, this is about the Bengals. Their defense only allowed points in the second quarter. It is a little concerning that 17 points in a quarter isn't good, but if you get a shutout in the other 3, then it doesn't matter how. I feel like 17 points throughout an entire game is a tremendous benchmark for any defense in this day's NFL, where it seems like every rule is geared toward the offense and them getting more points. If you can hold an opponent to 17 points, you should expect your offense to be able to at least match that output and continue the game. And the Bengals were more than up to the task. They blow out the Ravens. Their next game is against the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football. Speaking of the Browns, another disappointing loss against the Ravens, 20-23, as I mentioned earlier in the video. They had a potential late go-ahead drive in the later stages of the fourth quarter, but it was derailed by some penalties. Ticky-tack, technically right by the letter of the rule, offensive pass interference on Amari Cooper. I've seen that called. I've seen that go away. Go not called. They swallow the whistle on that sometimes. That was a decent call. The false start on the field goal was definitely the more controversial one. Although, again, it's the difference between a 56-yard field goal isn't exactly a guarantee. I know Cade York has the leg for it, but again, a rookie kicker kicking a 56-yard field goal, not exactly a sure thing, especially giving the Ravens the ball back with time even after that. It's impossible to know if the Browns how that game goes if that call isn't made. Maybe the Browns just missed the field goal anyway, or it still gets blocked. Who knows? We'll never know, but it is unfortunate that call was made and has such a distraction over the game, because I do feel like the Browns also missed opportunities besides just the officials. I feel like the Browns forgot the running game in the second and third quarter, although I will give Kevin Stefanski credit for this. The running game did reemerge in the fourth quarter. Kevin Stefanski did seem to remember that he did have Nick Chubb, and that Nick Chubb is awesome, and that watching him run usually leads to success for the Browns. In the fourth quarter, Nick Chubb did get plenty of involvement, so I will give Kevin Stefanski credit for that, for seeming to adjust on the fly there, something that we as Browns fans would like to see more. Corey Bojorquez had a 76-yard punt, so that's pretty impressive. And overall, this defense that was, I believe, tailor-made to slow down Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense did their job pretty adequately despite dealing with some injuries. I believe Denzel Ward was still out. Jacob Phillips ended up getting an injury, and he's going to miss the rest of the season. David Njoku left the game early, and then Deion Jones, it was his first game in a Browns uniform, I think. So, again, decent performance from the defense, only holding the Ravens to 23 after we've seen offenses put up 30 burgers like it's nothing on the Browns. Decent job by the Browns defense, but just at the end of the day, they didn't do enough consistently to get that win, and the penalties and the whistles on the final drive not going their way certainly didn't help. Their next game is at home against the Bengals on Monday Night Football, and it's a must-win for Cleveland. The Bengals can't afford to lose this game, but they don't want to lose to the Browns, because the Browns are in a bad way right now, no matter what the Browns camp will try to tell you. But anyway, moving on to the Steelers. They lost on Sunday Night Football to the Dolphins in Miami 10-16. The game actually looked like it was promising to be a bit of an entertainer, and then in the second half of the game, they just kind of quit. The team said, "We're not scoring anymore, we're done." Mike McDaniels had opportunities to make the game a two-score game. As they were in the Steeler red zone or around it on 4th and 3. They decided to go for it and don't get it instead of kicking the field goal to make it a two-score game instead of a one-score game. I'll never understand that logic, but whatever. I guess that's the direction that some of these coaches are going with the game, and it's weird, but whatever. That win last week the Steelers had against Tampa Bay probably says more about the Bucs than it does the Steelers. Kenny Pickett with a rough game, especially when he was trying to make stuff happen in the second half. He's still a rookie quarterback. I don't feel like there's any reason to panic or call him a bust quite yet. Not encouraging, but again, he is a rookie quarterback playing on a not so great team against pretty good opponents. Like the Miami Dolphins were, one of the more hyped up teams coming out of the offseason. Maybe not for their defense per se, but in general, Kenny Pickett, I feel like give him some time to marinate. He didn't start the season. He's still a rookie quarterback. Give him some time. Although you maybe want to see a little bit more of a flash from him at this point. But again, I think just be patient for now, and we'll see what happens later on in the season and next year and beyond. So for the Steelers and for the Browns too, but for the Steelers, you have to basically pile up a lot of wins now, or else the season is over. Miami was vulnerable in this game, but the Steelers just could not take advantage of their opportunities. And the Steelers' next game is on the road against the Eagles. Yikes! They are 6-0. Yikes! And the Eagles just had their bye weeks. Oh, that's not a recipe for success for the Steelers. But we've seen the Steelers pull out some voodoo magic from their hat before. Let's see if they can do it again. So in general, for the division, right now it's a battle between the Ravens and the Bengals for the division lead, with the Steelers and Browns teetering on, maybe next year territory, except the Browns don't even have a first-round pick to look forward to if they end up with a bad record. We'll see on Monday Night Football if Joe Burrow can get his first win against the Browns, which feels weird to say that he hasn't gotten a win against the Browns yet, but this is probably the most lopsided matchup in favor of the Bengals that Joe Burrow has had in his career. The Bengals with all the momentum and talent in the world. The Browns, they have talent, but their momentum right now is in the toilet. They've lost. I think it's 4 straight now. Yeah, it's 4 straight that the Browns have lost. They started 2-1. They're 2-5 now. So yeah, we'll see if Joe Burrow can get that win under his belt, and we'll see if the Browns can respond after a horrible week. The Ravens playing the floundering Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. If the Ravens win, then they will maintain first place in the AFC North, regardless of what happens in the other games. And the Steelers, in the only non-night game in the AFC North they play against the Eagles, and hopefully they make it out of that matchup alive. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you liked the video and like to see more like it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the AFC North games and how this division is going to shake up throughout the rest of the season. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you at the next one.